And now to talk about the Thursday visit of Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk to Kyiv and what was said, I'm joined by Marcin Zaborowski, TVP World's Europe editor. Marcin, great to have you back in the studio. Thank you for joining me. So, based on what was said today, Ukraine is prepared to exchange its drones for air defense missiles and Polish MiG fighter jets. That's according to the words by President Zelensky. But there are caveats to this. So do you think this exchange could actually materialize and take place?
Poland has been stating for a while now that it has this MiG-29 at disposal, which Poland is ready to give it to Ukraine, free of charge, really. So, and we had here in the studio Poland's Deputy Defense Minister who confirmed that. But, the Poland is ready, so it just depends on Ukraine asking for it.
We have the MiGs, as you mentioned. We've had the confirmation in this very studio. But are there enough for Ukraine to be willing to share the drone technology with us as of today?
Well, it's certainly true that MiGs are based on rather old technology from the 1980s, whereas drones are very, very modern. So, but wouldn't be such a bad business for Poland if it was to be if that swap was to be taking place. Certainly, Poland needs more drones and certainly needs more drone protection. We could see it in September when Poland's airspace was violated by a number of Russian.
We had an incursion.
We had an incursion. About 20 something Russian drones just went through the border and got as far as Warsaw. Few of his drones were being shot down, but most of them were not. That kind of showed that Poland didn't have a sufficient drone protection. So in a sense here, Ukraine is ahead of Poland because it's been basically practicing that technology for years now.
And what about the energy connectivity? What about the energy grid? We know that Ukraine is struggling due to Russian constant attacks. We know about the negative temperatures. We know about the civil society that is being hurt as a result of these very actions by Russia. How do you think Poland is going to be able to help?
Well, I think there are several aspects here. So there is a humanitarian aspect that you just mentioned related to the recent Russian targeting of energy critical infrastructure, which is basically depriving people of heat at home. So as we know, people basically have been sometimes residing in temperatures around or below zero at home.
Left in unlivable conditions.
In terrible conditions. And Poland here was a leader in providing Ukraine with generators, and both on the level of private citizens, it was a sort of people called each other and they provided Ukraine with over 100 generators within something like 2 days. And almost all of my friends that I'm aware of contributed something to it. So that was pretty quick, noticeable, and Poland was thanked for that on the arrival of Prime Minister Tusk. Then the government also provided, with the government money, provided Ukraine with even more generators. So that's about, really aid and rescuing a neighbor in a difficult situation. Connectivity is another issue because here we're talking about, pipelines, gas.
We need to create an infrastructure to be able to back it up.
And that, in a sense, is already quite developed, but it's difficult to be fully practiced during the wartime condition. But there is another aspect to this connectivity is the role of the Polish ports of Gdańsk and Gdynia, which are receiving LNG, the liquidated gas, which then is transported to Ukraine.
The Abu Dhabi talks came to an end, the trilateral peace talks that were supposed to take place. Whether we're any nearer to peace is a different question completely, but the question that I want to ask is regarding the security guarantees. What role do you think that Poland is going to play in the security guarantees for Ukraine? We so far know that Poland was reluctant to put boots on the ground, so what kind of support are we going to see there?
Poland is absolutely indispensable to security guarantees being carried out, not because of boots on the ground, but because of geography. And geography puts Poland in that position that, whatever European troops would be arriving with the purpose of then providing peace to Ukraine, they would need to go via Poland, and Poland would be serving as an essential hub here. And there is already a designated NATO base in Poland, which is prepared for admitting, maintaining troops and providing necessary logistics. And then there is also another element, the role of Rzeszów, a city right next to the border with Ukraine, the airport of which has been the hub through which about 90% of all military aid to Ukraine has been going. So that's already in place, and that's been absolutely essential to the maintenance of Ukraine's defense effort. So whether Poland puts on the ground, 1,000-2,000 troops or none, that's kind of irrelevant here if we take into account that the territory of Poland, the logistics, the maintenance, the base, that Poland would be providing any possible troops transfer to Ukraine.
So we spoke about the security guarantees. Poland has, since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, been an absolutely fundamental hub, not only for humanitarian but also military aid. But we've also heard from Prime Minister Tusk, who on Tuesday said, quote, I'll help myself with my notes, "We have such hope that after the swift end of the war, or at least after a ceasefire, it will be possible to move forward with a major plan to rebuild Ukraine. And this also means major investments, big money and major projects. Poland wants to take part in them." What should Poland do to be considered in the future of Ukraine, in the process of rebuilding Ukraine, not to be sidelined?
Well, we have a good start because Poland will be hosting Ukraine Reconstruction Conference. Every year there is this conference in different EU member states. Poland will be hosting another one in June in Gdańsk, and it will be attended by the entire EU Commission, by the President of the Commission, President of the EU Council, the major heads of states. And if there is some kind of a ceasefire of settlement happening around the time, Poland would be definitely in a kind of a head position to be considered as a investor and contributor to the rebuilding effort in Ukraine. And I think it's meaningful that now when Prime Minister Tusk is in Ukraine, he went there together with Finance Minister, actually, Mr. Domański. So these two leaders of this delegation, more so than, so it's not about foreign affairs, it's not about defense, it's about actually, business.
I would like to take us away from the topic we've just covered and look a little bit closer to home, because we've had some latest developments. We've heard from U.S. Ambassador Thomas Rose, U.S. Ambassador to Poland. He posted on his X platform a very interesting post. I would like us to take a look if we could. We discussed it earlier in the program, and it reads, "Effective immediately, we will have no further dealings, contacts, or communications with Marshal of the same Czarzasty, whose outrageous and unprovoked insults directed against President Trump has made himself a serious impediment to our excellent relations with Prime Minister Tusk and his government. We will not permit anyone to harm U.S.-Polish relations, nor to disrespect Donald Trump, who has done so much for Poland and the Polish people." After that, we heard the response from Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, who on X also said, quote, "Mr. Ambassador Rose, allies should respect, not lecture each other. At least this is how we here in Poland understand partnership." The quote that you can see on your very screens right now. What does this mean for Polish-U.S. relations, as the Speaker of the Polish lower house, effectively a number two in Polish politics, has been singled out by U.S. administration using the very person of U.S. Ambassador?
Well, it's difficult to comment that without anything than astonishment that the ambassador of an allied nation, really residing here in this country, dares to address in those terms the Speaker of the House. The second highest person in this country. So that's certainly massively disrespectful.
So what does that say about the U.S.?
It does say that the people who are in charge of U.S. foreign policy have a strange understanding of what being an ally means and have forgotten their manners, frankly. And this is not a 52nd state of America. This is a nation at Europe's center, and addressing us and the person who represents this nation in those terms is just very, very strange. Also, I'd like to mention that Mr. Czarzasty comes from the formation who, in the past, strongly supported the United States in Iraq and Afghanistan. So, it was when this country was under the leadership of the left, that these operations were approved, and Poland was absolute major contributor in Iraq.
Very quickly, because our time on the program is coming to an end, how do we walk back from this? It's
difficult, really difficult to say, because it's unprecedented what's happening here. A lot of things about President Trump and his administration are unprecedented. Threats against Greenland, then the threats of tariffs, then imposing tariffs for weaponizing tariffs for political purposes. So these are all new things, and we are not used to that, really. Now there is another threshold being crossed here, addressing the Speaker of the House in those terms. I would expect for the current American administration to walk back from these remarks, frankly.
And we will see, and we'll be definitely reporting here on TVP World the latest developments on that very issue. Marcin, thank you so much for joining me here on World News Tonight. Pleasure as always. Marcin Zaborowski, TVP World's Europe editor, was my guest. Thanks once again.
Thank you.
And so this would be all the latest news for now. Thank you for joining me. I'm Klaudia Czerwińska, and I hope to see you back here on TVP World for more news and features in just a moment. Good night.